This is the Thrive Podcast with Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. And now, Pastor Fred Jeff Smith.
Hello, welcome to the 27th edition of the Thrive Podcast with the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. I'm Fred Jeff Smith, pastor of Shiloh, and I'm very happy that you took the time to share with us either via iTunes or via our YouTube channel. And I'm very grateful today to have as our guest, Mr. Howard Hall.
How you doing?
Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you for having me on.
A local radio personality with Cumulus Radio, 94.1 and 106.5 also.
That's correct.
And you are a touring stand-up comedian. Let me get it right. And I'm very grateful that you took the time to come and share with us today.
I'm blessed to even have an opportunity, man. Thank y'all.
Tell me something about radio.
All right.
I had Tony King here a couple weeks ago. And I enjoyed that conversation very much. I have to confess, I don't listen to local radio. I'm 56 years old, almost 57. When I get in my car, I have Sirius in the car. I don't listen to the radio at all at home.
You're not alone.
So I'm wondering, what is the status of local radio these days?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's dying out, honestly. Only because the platform right now is not being utilized. I believe it could be utilized very differently. It's not seen the same, especially since you got different methods and different ways to get either your message out or different ways to get advertising out. It's so, like, I can reach you right now strictly through social media. I don't even need to go anywhere else. Why would I buy an ad when I could talk directly to you? Right. So it's almost like passing the radio is like almost the middleman between the consumer and the buyer. So I mean, moving that middleman out, like the internet has basically said, "Hey, we don't need you. We can go straight there." Like I think it's that for radio, and I think it's that for music. Music is seeing it, and radio, and music and radio kind of tie each other together. Right. So the same thing music is seeing, same thing radio is gonna see.
So I'm not unique in this.
No.
Younger people don't listen to radio with greater frequency than people my age.
No.
How it hurts for me to not put myself in the group with younger people.
I know.
But truth is truth. Shiloh has a weekly radio broadcast that we do on WXOK. I honestly don't know because they don't give me Arbitron numbers. I don't know how many people actually listen. But whenever I have threatened to take it off the air, because we're also on television, we also live stream. Now we're doing this podcast. I really don't see where I need to do the radio piece. But whenever I threaten to take it off, some good sister or brother in the church says, "Red, no, we ain't messing with the radio broadcast night. You gonna Shiloh been on at 2:00 on Sunday afternoons for the last 25 years. Your father had us on radio at 2:00 on Sunday afternoons. You're not about to mess with that. So somebody is listening.
Somebody's listening
to local radio.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that you get recognized because you have a very distinct voice. Even if they can't see you, they hear your voice. I'm sure you get recognized for your radio work.
Yes, most of it is actually stand-up work, since I've been doing stand-up way longer than I did radio. But I mean, radio has brought me an audience that I didn't know I could reach. Especially like being on two stations, so that's the younger generation, and I'm also still reaching people that's in my demographic and older. So I mean, that's what normally I won't get that reach at a full comedy show. Sometimes it's super young, sometimes it's super old, depending on what event I'm doing. Radio lets me grab all of that, hopefully while they're listening. Hopefully, especially since like I got in the radio, and I can honestly say this, for talk radio. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. I wanted my own show.
You wanted to be Larry King? Is that your kind of talk radio?
More
Rush
so.
Limbaugh type talk radio? I'm glad you laughed when I said that.
If you want me to just lie on the radio, then yeah. But not more like the Tom Joyners, the Rick Smileys, like just have your own show, like your own platform, which means you can talk about what you want to talk about, the issues that affect you, or or affect the community that you in, instead of just being a talking head. I don't want to do that. And right when I got in, the shift changed. Like, we have a lot of talent here in Baton Rouge. Like, I believe the Cumulus stations downtown, collectively over all the stations, I think we have the most talent than any other radio station. Like, that doesn't have a morning show or doesn't have a syndicated radio show. Yet we have enough talent to actually have one or to produce one, but I don't think radio in general wants to put the funds into any more local morning shows or local talk radio. Like, I don't think they don't see it as viable.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. You're a stand-up comedian. You're a touring stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about stand-up comedy. I enjoy stand-up comedy. I used to just, I said I listen to Sirius Radio on I go to the comedy stations. I'll keep that on for 3,
I could ride
4
a whole 4 or 5 hours.
Exactly. And I enjoy that. I don't necessarily, as I get older, I don't necessarily need all of the profanity that comes across with some folk. Although I think sometimes the only word you can use.
Yeah,
you can use for certain situations.
Yeah.
But profanity just for profanity's sake, I think it gets old and tiresome.
Absolutely.
After a while. Tell me about stand-up comedy. You see certain documentaries on certain people, and they talk about the fact that the comedy comes out of pain or comes out of negative life experiences that you sought to find something positive and you twisted and turned it around. I'm not asking necessarily about your own personal story. I'm asking, as a stand-up comedian who interacts with other stand-up comedians, do you find that to be the case or what?
That is the case in most stand-up comedians. I'm not saying that all of it is dark. But some of our jokes do come from a dark place. And that dark place may be something we're trying to deal with, and the only way we can deal with it is put it in joke form. And every time we do it on stage, you deal with it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. It's almost like counseling a little bit. But yes, I know comedians and myself that have drawn from like bad things happening or bad things that happen in your life and transform it into a joke. But there's also just plain out joke writing and just plain out just loving the craft, and you just want to do it. So, I mean... Do
you consider yourself a social justice, socially conscious comedian, or...
Do I tackle those topics?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I used to watch the guy who comes on HBO, Bill Maher.
Bill Maher.
I used to watch Bill Maher. Got tired of the self-righteousness after a while. But, he is socially conscious. Even though I might not always agree with him, the framework for all of his comedy is around some kind of social awareness.
Right.
That's not true of all comedians.
That is true.
I used to love Sinbad.
I still love Sinbad.
Keeps me laughing all the time. But you can't say that he's socially
conscious,
or that his material is about social justice issues. So where does your material fall?
My material literally falls into real life situations. Like, I can take a regular situation of me driving somewhere to the grocery store with my wife or something, and I could turn that into a 5-minute bit because I can find jokes within it. Now, the social conscience jokes, I would say my act is not, I should say, constructed around it, but I have bits about it. So, like, I might finish telling a story, or I might finish telling a bit about, family or something, and then I can actually bring in the social conscious thing of, like, trying to raise a family while being black in the South.
Right.
And how hard that is. Like, I can still pull, you can still interject that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the entire act.
I got you.
But just to let people know, hey, I'm woke.
Yeah.
I understand it, but I can get back to these jokes as well. Some people like to just stay on that narrow. Yeah.
Is it a rough life? Is it being on radio, you said you do the late night shift, and then you're in comedy clubs late at night.
Yes.
Do you find the scheduling to be a difficult thing to manage?
Absolutely. I mean, it's difficult if you like sleep. Like, seriously, like you gotta find your time. Like, if you don't find the time in between the times, like, you gotta understand like what you're doing it for. Like, I know my first love is comedy. Like, if somebody made me choose between comedy and radio, comedy's gonna win.
Okay.
But I know radio is also an avenue for comedy. So it's like I can't put that down. I still have to do it because I don't know what it may bring. And I don't want to put it down right before it's supposed to bring something to me. Plus, God ain't told me to tell me like to stop it, so
Right.
I'm gonna continue doing it.
Right.
But what you got to find out is like you got to find a balance. Some people don't have that balance in comedy, family life, radio. Like you have to. Anybody with a job needs to balance that. Like you can't just be over there working turnarounds and overtime and you're not sleeping, and then you spending time with your family. They on vacation and
Right.
you at work.
Right.
Yeah, you in no pictures. It's almost like you divorced, but you still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just found the balance, and I mean some shows I miss out on, and that's okay because I choose to miss out on to either go to my son's basketball game or go practice or something like with him, or I'll go with my wife somewhere and be like, yeah, I could have did that show in Dallas, but don't worry about it. Or sometimes I do the opposite, which means I'll bring my family with me on a gig and turn it into a vacation.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. You are a father.
Yes.
You are a husband.
Yes.
You are a grandfather.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
A lot of people are surprised. I'm like, "You're a grandfather?" You know, like, how old are you? Like, these are the questions that come right.
Literally,
after
what I just said to you before
Absolutely.
we started. Yes.
It was like grandfather. They were like grandfather of 3. I was like, yeah, I got 3 grandkids. And they were like, okay, how old are you? And then I tell them 36. Wow. They're like, how old is your oldest? I was like, yeah, my oldest son is 23. How many kids do you have? I have 4 kids. And he was like, wow. And they all looked shocked. I was like, why are you shocked? Like, this is the natural order of things. You do know that. Like that is how things happen.
It's a natural order, but let's
It
just
is-
say that the timeline is
The
truncated
timeline
a
is
little
shrunk.
bit.
I love giving people my age and then giving the age of my son and watch that math happen in their face.
Yeah.
Because their face starts doing,
Sure.
it was like 36 minus.
So when you were watching my face, what
Yes,
did you
it was
see?
amazing. I love it. It happens every time because
Yeah.
I do the joke on stage.
Yeah.
And I literally just, I get quiet. One time I said it and I just continued my show. And literally 8 minutes later, I was like, y'all still thinking about the grandfather thing? They was like, yes. Like, they wasn't even listening. They was like, when he going to get back to it? But I'll break it down in a quick story.
Okay.
Met my wife. My wife is 6 years older than me.
Okay.
When I met her, she was recently divorced with 3 kids. When I met her and I married her, you know, those 3 kids are now my kids.
Yes, sir.
We had one more. And I met my oldest son when he was like 9 years old.
Okay.
He's now 23. He has 2 beautiful daughters and a son, China, Christian, and Caden. Those are my, I didn't know what, like, grandfather is awesome. They call me Poppy, so.
36 years old and you call Poppy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. It happened at 30, so understand how I felt. At 30, finding that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
I know.
That's fabulous.
It was good. It was great material.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked through it.
Yeah. Well, so being the patriarch of a multi-generational family, being raised in East Baton Rouge Parish, how do you think things are going in East Baton Rouge Parish?
To be honest, not so well. The direction of it that I saw it coming out of our high school was promising when I was coming out of high school, and that was in 2000. It looked good. Like, it did look like we had promise coming, like we had infrastructure that was going to come. Like, they kept talking about it, like, always in the news. Like, even looking at, like, sports at the time, Southern University was doing great. LSU was on the rise.
Yes.
BRCC was actually growing. I'm like, okay, this is working out. I wouldn't mind graduating and staying here, you know, because it could be things to be here. And I came back from college just around about 03, 04.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to McNeese State University.
Okay.
Basketball
Went over to Lake Charles.
scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Point guard?
Point guard.
Okay.
Had to. That's the only thing you can do at 5'7". I wanted to be something else.
Yeah.
But I graduated from Glen Oaks.
Okay.
and went on to McNeese, and I played ball for 2 years.
Okay.
And transferred back because my coach switched schools, and I didn't want to do the little round robin thing. I was like, I'll just come home, and I continued my education at Southern.
Okay.
So while there, I mean, it still looked promising because, I mean, we still had I'm a little bit on the artistic side, and I love what we were doing with arts. But then I saw a stalemate in us getting certain opportunities here in the city. I saw the city like we'll bid on certain things and just lose it. And you don't even know why you lost. They'll just say, well, we lost the bid. And I'm like, why? Or you try to invent or start things, like even with my friend Terrence. He knows. We've tried to start multiple things here that it just will not catch. And we can leave here like literally 30, 40 minutes down the road and get ridiculous amount of support in the same things that we're doing here in the city. And I couldn't understand it. I could not understand it. It's baffling.
So Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge Parish, you don't feel like is fertile ground for creative endeavors? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm asking a question.
I don't want to say that it's not. I will say that it's shaping up to be that way. I mean, I even saw what they did when they cut the arts, cut the budget on the arts.
Right.
I was like, the one thing in a recession that makes money, the one thing, if you can look at the math, in any recession, the one thing that doesn't go down is entertainment. Because people want to take their mind off being broke. Right. Basically. It's the one thing. And you cut it. Yeah. You got the one thing. I was like, that's like, okay. I was like, who are we electing? Like who? Like that's when you got to go to that. Like who made that decision? And I remember when that happened. Me and my wife, I had some shows in Atlanta, and we literally stayed in Atlanta for a week. And she was ready to move. I was like, in a week, like she can make a decision. Like I can live here. Just being that week. And I was like, I could not say no. We actually thought about it.
What made you start
about it. Man, to be honest, my kids, I want them to see what I saw. I wanted them to grow up in something that I grew up in too. I wanted that to be embedded in them because it taught me something.
So you're a native Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Your parents are native Baton Rougeans also?
No, they are from Bogalusa, Louisiana.
Bogalusa, Louisiana.
But both went to Southern University.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would encourage your children to attend Southern at the appropriate time? Okay. And if they said, no, Dad, I want to go pick X.
Well, if they got a scholarship, they can go. That's just real.
Wow. You sound like my father.
Yeah. If you got a scholarship, feel free.
I'm a tad bit older than you. When it came time for college, my father and I had this kind of discussion.
Really?
You're going to really enjoy LSU, son.
Oh, he already made the
That was the end of the conversation.
That was it.
That was all there was to it.
Oh, wow.
So I knew where
I
was going.
Yeah.
Because I did not have a scholarship saying, come over here, come over here. No. You're going to really enjoy LSU.
There's no college search here.
No.
I've already searched it for you.
My father is a Southern alum. My mother was working at Southern. He told me the flagship university for the state is right across town. Why should you have to go anywhere else? Which was his way of saying, you ain't going nowhere.
Yes, basically.
This is where you're going to go.
And the way you answer that is with, yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I ended up at Baton Rouge High, too. I was outside playing with my friends. Yeah. He said, come here. Come inside. I came inside. He handed me the newspaper, and they were talking about this new magnet program. Don't you think that'd be a great place to go to school? Translation, you're going to school there. Yeah, Dad, that'll be a great place.
I agree.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Those were the kinds of heart-to-heart conversations that we had about education at that time.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's great.
So it's good that you would want to pass that experience on to your children.
I mean, I've also told them that if college ain't for you, You don't have
You're
to
okay
go.
with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially, like, I think in the last 10 years, you can make that. I think between, I think 2004 and back, going straight to college is what you were supposed to do.
Right.
2005 to now, you don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like if you don't go, you won't be able to take care of yourself. No, that's not.
But you do have to have a work ethic.
You must have a work ethic.
And that's what I keep trying to stress to young people. You're right. You don't necessarily. College is not for everybody.
Absolutely.
And it's okay if college is not for you.
Yes.
I get concerned when people seem like they're running from college as opposed to making an
decision.
alternate choice. And I get concerned with people who think that their parents and their grandparents are going to take care of them.
Right. Their entire lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to happen.
Because that's not going to happen.
No.
But yeah, you can make it without a college degree today if you're willing to put forth some effort.
Right. And look, and I'm all for, like, I don't want, I should say, this is what I'm telling my daughter now. Because I don't want you to be indecisive while collecting debt. No.
Right.
Don't be taking on $15,000 loans and you still don't know.
Right.
Like, for that, just go buy a car. Like, I'm serious. Like, just go buy a car and drive around while you're thinking about what you want to go do. Don't just be in school making C's and D's, wondering, do I want to be here? No. If you got to take a year off after high school, take a year.
Yeah.
Go work, take a year, and see if you really want to do this. Because it's a lot of kids that just, I'm going to just go straight to college. Do you know what you want to do? No. You don't know? Like, that's their answer.
Yes, I have a 23 and a 21-year-old.
Oh yeah, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you want to do, man? I don't, you know, just figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still got staff loans, man.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know? Like, soon as you graduate, they ask for their money.
Yes.
Immediately. Like,
that is correct.
Man, congratulations on your bachelor's degree. Your first payment is due.
Let me introduce you to our collector. He's right here. Yeah, he's right here waiting for you.
And I was like, you gotta know that's coming. And I was like, if you're not ready for that, you can just work. I'm perfectly fine with that. If you find joy in that, do it. Absolutely.
Tell me about your personality.
Oh man, I am.
You're a very jovial guy. I'm enjoying this conversation very much. We have never met before. This is our first time meeting with each other. Do you have a temper?
No.
Really? Because most guys who are as upbeat and positive as you are, you don't want to catch them on a bad day.
Right, but on my bad day, I'm still good. You don't want to catch me on my worst day.
Okay.
Like, it takes you can even ask I think my wife has seen me, like, very, very, very upset to the point I can't calm him down maybe twice in our 11-year marriage. Twice. And I've probably been that mad maybe 5 times in my life. And it's only because I've recognized even earlier, like, I'm talking about like 16, 15 years old, that I don't want you to control me with what you do or what you say. I'm just not. Like, even when I was playing ball at Glen Oaks, like, I remember one time my coach benched me because I wasn't at practice. But I was at an academic thing at LSU for the magnet program. So I was like, I'm doing something for the school.
Right.
He said, well, you in practice, you don't play. Well, I'm just on the bench. Like, hey, I could have been upset vividly. I'm just on the end of the bench just tapping my knees. Because a part of me was like, I had nothing to do with that.
And by third quarter, he said,
yep. Eventually.
He said, get on in there.
Get on there, man.
Yeah.
Like, I just, that's the way I kind of approach situations. I even approach, like, altercations like that. Terrence, no. I was like, I can have friends that don't like each other.
He keeps referring to Terrence. For those who can't, no, that's fine, because I do it too.
Okay.
Terrence Turner is the producer of this podcast.
Yes.
And he's sitting there behind the camera.
Absolutely.
That's who you're talking about.
A good friend
Keep
of mine,
going.
too. I'm sorry. Terrence, no. He's seen me in certain situations where I either had friends at odds or I know of someone that might not like me, and I know of it, and it was like, so that I was like, that don't matter to me. I mean, if they can't say it to my face, I'm cool. Or if we can't talk about it, I'm still cool. It's not gonna mess up my day.
Right.
I'm Gucci. Like, you know, like, I don't know. I don't hold grudges either.
That's good.
Like, My wife hates
too
that.
short for grudges.
My wife hates that. You know that? Oh, she wanna fight.
Well, that's because she wants to protect you.
I know.
She wants to watch out. I've got a wife too.
Oh my God.
And I do know that they can. Well, to use my wife's term, I will cut you.
Yes. Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She don't understand. We can have an argument. I ain't gonna say argument, a discussion, because we don't. I think we maybe argued twice in our marriage, right? But we had a discussion, and she's just mad. It's still on her. And 15 minutes later, I'm like, "Hey, baby, what you want to cook, man?" Like, he said, "We should just go out and do something." She was like, "No." "Do you know what we just did?" I said, "Yeah, we just finished the discussion. We came to a conclusion. I know you feel, sour about that, but that doesn't have to carry on to anything else. Why are you still holding on?" "I don't know. I don't know why I'm still mad." I was like, "All right, as long as you know that I'm done." Like, and she hates that. She hates I get over it like that.
Yeah.
And it's not that I get over it. I just can't stay in that energy. I don't know what it is. I just can't stay. It'll block so many things.
Yeah.
From either happening or me doing something. If I just stay and I ponder on that and I think about that. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have time.
So when you do get angry, and you said there have been 5, maybe 10 times in your entire life when you've been that angry, what have been the things that have made you angry?
Continuous bouts of disrespect. Blatant disrespect. And to the point of endangering me or the people around me. Not to the point like, oh, he's being disrespectful. He doesn't know what he's doing. Let's go ahead and leave. All right. And that's the first bout. Then you start talking and screaming and actually insulting either my children, my wife, or myself.
Sure.
And then that's another level. And I'm still calm. I don't want to do anything, but I think you need to back away. Now you're actually challenging me in front of them. You're actually in my face. You're in my personal space.
Right.
And I'm still trying to be calm. So, like, it's literally levels that this one guy, I remember this, had to pass before I got there. And I was still trying to bring it down. And nobody was holding me back. They were actually walking off. And I'm still just trying to calm him down until he actually put his hands on me. And I was like, that's it.
That's a third level.
There you go.
Yeah.
You wanted it, here it is. Now, the bad part is when it comes, it doesn't cut off as easily as the first 3 levels were.
Sure.
Like, this is now, it's going to continue for until I'm finished. My wife figured that out, too. She was like, pulling you back, and yeah, that was hard to do. I was like, yeah, I ain't see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I don't know who that guy was.
Yeah. So, when you are out in the community, and you put yourself in a place of vulnerability on the stage, your comedy comes from aspects of your life.
Yes.
Hyperbolic though they may be, they're still aspects of your life. If there's someone in the audience who heckles, who disrespects you, how do you handle?
Oh, how do I handle hecklers? Oh. Well, there's ways to put hecklers down. Like, there's comedic ways to do it. A heckler at a show would never get me out of character. I'm at a show, you just trying to be. I already know what the heckling is coming from. Like, you either disagree with what I'm saying, and you want the rest of the room to know that you disagree, or you want to be the show. Just those 2 things. So I'm going to give you both of those. Okay. I'm going to let the people know that you don't agree with what I said, even though they may agree with you, but they're not going to say it because they didn't stand up like you.
Right.
And 2, they don't want to be a part of the show, so I'm going to make you the show. And there's actually technical ways to take down a heckler in comedy, like simple things. I give you like 2 of them. 1, if a heckler ever says anything to you, understand you got the microphone, they don't. Slowly repeat what they said. Just slowly do it and watch how stupid it sounds. Just slowly repeat it and then go, The crowd is going to turn. Then he's going to feel like, oh, yeah, now what's the next step? What are you going to do? Like, because you tried to be funny. That didn't go for you. You tried to be mean. Now you just sounding mean. Now, if he wants to keep talking, that's when the comedic genius comes out. That's where all the years of hanging with your friends
Mm-hmm.
and them riffing on you, that's when that comes out. And I can see some of your insecurities on how you just standing, what you came out with, the table that you had, the people that you sitting in front. I can see all of that. Because a comedian does read a room. We know how to read a room. Matter of fact, we'll show up to a show early, watch all of y'all sit down, see what you order. I can tell by what you order and like how you, the camaraderie with your table, who you are, and what affects you. And then I'm gonna use that. And then I'm gonna use it until you sit down, because you will.
Eventually. You will sit down.
And guess what? Our friend Terrence has witnessed that. A lot of people don't do it no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to community things, I imagine that your audience is a younger audience.
Most of the time.
What's your read on young people, especially young African American people?
Smart. Right now, I think these newer generations that we're getting, they are very, very smart. They also sure of themselves. Like it's been a while since I've seen a generation that's sure that they, even if what they want to do is nothing, they are sure of it. Like you're not gonna deter me like our fathers did. You're not gonna deter me from doing what I want to do, right. Even if you ridicule whatever I tell you I want to do, I'm still going to do it. They are so sure of themselves, which can be great and terrible at the same time.
Yeah, I'm listening to you describe that, and that's, I can see the great, I can see the upside in that, but I think I see more of a downside in that, because they lack experience.
Absolutely.
And while they don't necessarily value the experience that you try to share with them, I think at some point, especially African Americans, need the experience of the older generation to help keep them in mindful of the fact that you're still black.
Absolutely.
I am very troubled by the fact that young people, people your age, I consider you younger than me, young people your age and below you, seem to forget that they're black. And when life reminds them that they're black, they seem to be totally unprepared for that.
Yes. I don't think they forget that they're black. I think they don't want to have to deal with being black.
How do you live and not deal with that reality?
I know. I don't know. Because you're going to see it at some point. And I'm talking about some point between the ages of birth and 7.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get an experience of being black, especially here in the South.
Yes.
Especially here in the South. You're going to get it. I just don't, I think they are so, you know, when you look at the internet and you look at social media, like, it can be an escape so much that you don't even want to have to deal with what's going on around you. And that's what they're doing. And then when you get hit with this black experience, it's almost like it's crippling. You're like, oh, can't believe the police is doing this.
Yeah.
It was like, this has been happening since the police was invented.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
The beginning of time. Do you understand? Like, this is not new. It's like they're blown away by it. And like you said, I agree. I believe the experiences of the older generation, just being told, would help. Like, I remember my dad telling me about how the Klan literally birthed out of Bogalusa, Louisiana.
Where you live right now, Zachary, Louisiana.
Absolutely.
Was Klan territory. When I was a child, and Baker is now majority black, when I was a child, no Negro wanted to be caught after dark in Baker.
They still don't. That's the bad part.
You know, that was not the place.
It's not the place to be. Right.
You know, and I'm older than you, but I ain't ancient. You know, I ain't collecting Social Security yet. But these things are very prevalent. They're very real today, and you don't have to wear a hood and carry a torch to be a Klansman.
No, most of them wear suits.
Yes.
Yeah. Ties.
Yes.
And being
and a lot of them stand in pulpits on Sunday morning.
Yes. Yes.
Which drives me
wild,
bonkers, because you got Negroes sitting out there listening to them
the same thing
on Sunday morning.
Oh man, you preaching?
Yeah.
You preach to the choir. I don't care what you say, but do you still got to understand that you have to wake them up? Sometimes it takes an event like what we went through here in Baton Rouge. The Alton Sterling thing.
Yes.
Like, it takes an event like that to, like, oh snap, we still here.
Yes.
Yeah, we are still here. And what we gonna do about it? Because I think our older generations, they did what they had to do. They got us here. Like, what we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, that's the wake up call that we need.
You were raised in the church.
Yes.
You and your wife still attend church.
Yes.
I'm assuming your children attend
Yes.
church. Statistics show that with greater and greater frequency, African Americans are trending away from church. Slower than other ethnic groups, and much slower in the South and in other areas of the country. But the trend is still there, that we're drifting away from church. What is it that keeps you in the church?
To my faith. I still believe in God, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I believe in that. That's what I believe in. That's what saved me. I mean, not saying I believe it because I have this conversation. I got friends that don't believe in God. I got friends that believe in God but don't believe in Jesus Christ. I got the whole plethora of them, right? And they was like, so what makes you believe? And I was like, you can't just say faith, because everyone was like, I have faith. There's no God. And I was like, yeah, I understand, but I have an experience of God, and once you experience it, there is no.
Right.
Yeah, like it's just
it's not philosophical anymore.
No, it's not. Like I can't put it on paper for you.
Yeah.
I can't say factually, this is the reason why that Jesus Christ died. I can't tell you that. I know the experience. And then I've seen the experience in the people around me. Like, I've seen God touch them, and they know it, and they can't explain it. Like, so I don't think I'm not trying to convince my friends or any other people, like, hey, God, Jesus Christ exists. He saved us. I was like, I'll tell you that. I'm not going to have to convince you. You can be convinced at the end. I don't think you want to learn then, but I know what I experienced, and wholeheartedly. Like, you cannot tell me that's not God. It's nothing. I don't care. You come with scientific information telling me this was the reason why, Howard, that experience happened. I was like, well, that's good to know. But nah, that wasn't it.
Yeah. As I said when we started this recording, I'm a seeker. I'm trying to learn more through conversations with people who are not necessarily in my normal sphere of colleagues, friends, what have you. I'm trying to learn how to reach a different generation of people. And so I have to acknowledge that I don't necessarily understand a belief system. I guess I can understand it intellectually, but I don't understand it practically. A belief system that does not include the belief in a higher power, whether that higher power to you is God or Jesus or some other
God.
God. But this idea that we're all that is, that
you're crazy.
That it's just us.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to respond to that.
Right. It's, if you believe that, then wow. Like, just the complexities of our body should tell you there's a maker. Like, and anything out in the world naturally should tell you there's a maker. Like, this don't just happen. There's actually, I'm gonna send you the post. I think I saved it. It's on Instagram. It's a little kid. I think he's an astrophysicist. He's a kid, 17 years old. Like, proved that there's a God. Like, I have like evidence there's a higher power. And he does, like, when you listen to it, you're like, wow, he talking about gravity, outside, time. He does it, and he was like, that's how I know there's a God. and I can fight the smartest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this kid gets it.
Yeah.
He already knows that there's a God. I'm just gonna prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about. We never tried to just prove it. We just telling people our experience. He was like, I'm gonna prove it.
Well, for me, it's an unprovable. It is a matter of faith. And I understand those who come from a different perspective. I understand those who evolve in a different way, who were raised in the church. A lot of people get hurt in the church, and so they stay away from the church and they reject everything about the church, including Jesus, God, everything else. People read different books and take on different ideologies over the span of their lives, and for them, Jesus doesn't fit into their paradigm of life. I understand all that. I understand in my head. I don't understand the guy who says we're all that.
We're alone.
This is
you don't make sense to me right now. I agree with you. Like, and to piggyback off what you said about African Americans shying away from church. I don't think they're shying away from actually church. I think they're shying away from religion. I think it's the controlled religion. I don't think after learning, information sometimes tarnishes as well as informs. Like, sometimes you can get information that deter your faith. It can happen. And I believe, like taking it back to slavery, I didn't heard the Hotep guys like, the Bible until we got here. I was like, yeah, you do know where the Bible originated from, though. Like, you can go back. We can.
And by the way, that's not factual.
Yeah. Tell me, come on now.
There were established churches in North Africa as early as 64 AD.
Yes.
So to act like we just got it when we got here.
Yeah.
It's factually, what is it the president calls it? Fake news?
Fake news.
It's fake news.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they want to hear what somebody's telling them. Take it as that is fact and truth.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna change my life off of what you just told me.
Yeah.
Instead of going out for yourself or experiencing God for yourself.
Right.
Won't you do it yourself instead of just following?
Yeah.
It's easy to follow nowadays. So.
Do you ever have the opportunity to I know you have a lot on your plate. Do you ever have the opportunity to speak to youth away from the radio, away from your stage career, just serve as kind of a speaker, a mentor?
Yes.
When you have those conversations, what's on their minds? What is it that they want to talk about?
Money.
I asked Latangela about that, and so I'm interested in what your is.
Money.
Okay. How to make it?
How to make it.
And how to keep it? Or just how to make it?
Just how to make it and how to...
Because making it is one thing. Keeping it is something else
that's a
altogether.
Another,
Yeah.
But literally, that's all... That's the questions I get. Money. How much you make doing that, man?
Yeah.
Oh, man, for real? How much money you can make? Literally, this how much and whatever the rest of the question is.
Wow.
And all that tells me is that they just know that money equals happiness. Mm-hmm. And I mean, think about it. In their world, it might, for right now. Mm-hmm. Like, they might be looking at their mom and dad and where they live and like, well, if we had more money, this area of my life would be happier. And that's an accurate equation if you think about it. I mean, you don't really understand what joy is, or until I guess you get older, you won't understand that. Like, until you get out of that money situation. Mm-hmm. Like, once you get money and be like, oh, I'm still in the same place, and then you understand that you got to find joy. But literally, those kids are probably in situations where money will equal happiness. Mm-hmm. I think that's why that question pops up all the time. Plus, they don't see it.
Are they aware of the social ills, or are they up on contemporary events? Are they up on the school system, local politics? Forget national politics.
Oh, local politics? No.
Are they up on things that are going on in their own community?
No, absolutely not. Only if it's bad.
They heard about somebody who got shot. They heard about somebody who got hurt. And they got that from the street. So they don't watch the news?
No, they got that from the street and the news.
Okay.
Because the news likes bad too.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they'll tell you all the bad first.
Mm-hmm.
And most people cut off the news after the bad is done.
Yeah.
And then they start talking about elections like right after that, and you can turn the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, believe me, it's I still think it's done for a reason like that. But understand, they get their shocking information. Like, we're in a day and age with it's not even a 24-hour news cycle anymore. It's like 12 to 16 hours.
Right.
A news story is dead in 16 hours.
Right.
Without even being fact checked.
Right.
Like, we're not even talking about it. Like, it's a hashtag, and it's gone. So understand that this generation is getting the news, and it's old by the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
They moved on, and then it's not even news they supposed to be getting. Like, it's not even news they need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if they knew we was voting on schools getting a budget for them to increase either their computer labs or anything happening inside their schools, I think they would be interested in it. But they not gonna be told that. They gonna hear if their boy got shot in 70805.
I went to a meeting yesterday at a local high school.
Mm-hmm.
Principal asked for clergy in this area to come to the meeting. He was there. His administrative staff was there.
Mm-hmm.
10 or 11 pastors were there.
Okay.
They wanted to talk about football. And it was frustrating to me that
This is what we're talking about.
we're talking about football.
Mm-hmm.
The school is declining academically.
Okay. Do you mind me asking why the focus was football?
Well, because the football team was sanctioned by the Louisiana High School Athletic Association.
That's the only reason.
And so their kids are not eligible to play for a championship this year.
I understand.
And they had to pay a certain
Amount of money
in fines. And many of the clergy who were there
Mm-hmm.
are alums of the school.
Okay.
And so one of the questions was, how are we going to pay that money?
You said how we,
Yeah. How are we going to pay that money?
as a community?
As a school and alums, they wanted to know how the school was going to handle that fine. They wanted to know how the kids were going to react if they couldn't play for a championship.
That's what the conversation was about. That sounds like an alumni.
It troubled me. We did talk about other things.
Okay.
But it troubled me that was the first thing.
First agenda.
That was discussed, and it lasted way longer
Than what it was supposed to.
than it should have,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, but yeah.
If you're tailing off academically, if your school is academically trailing,
Mm-hmm.
if you're behind in technology, don't you think those are things that we might want to be talking about as opposed to
Football.
what happens if we don't
Play for a championship.
Play for the championship.
Not make
this
it.
year. No.
Not make it to the championship.
No.
Just play
Yeah.
and see if we can.
Yeah.
If.
Yeah.
Mm.
No. So, and I bring that up because my concern is about awareness
Mm-hmm.
and priorities.
Okay.
In my opinion, the church, I'm talking about clergy.
All right.
We're at this room. We're in this room.
Yeah.
Clergy. We're
Yeah.
in this room. And clergy pastor folk
Yeah.
who deal with daily issues of life, struggling to make ends meet with not enough money and working too many hours and having to work multiple jobs.
Yes.
But the conversation was about high school football.
Whew.
If that's what we're focusing on, then how can we possibly expect kids to focus on something
Yes.
other than that?
That's true.
It's troubling to me.
Thank God.
And I'm just interested. I'm venting to you,
Yeah,
but I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Well, was there kids in the room?
No.
Thank God. You could take it two ways. This is my comedic head doing that, because I always look at both sides. One, you can actually say that it is a mismanagement of a meeting and a time for what we're talking about right now. Like, it's more dire needs that need to be talked about than this. Yeah, this is a issue, but not the issue. Like, I get that. Then, on the other hand, I understand that the way this school can attract and keep this community and the kids in it so they can do something about it is with a sport.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. It's almost like enticing a kid with candy and giving them vegetables. Like, I understand. Like, believe me, I wanted to go to a certain high school because of athletics, not knowing what I was going to learn there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same thing. So I understand that, athletics does play a part in getting and keeping certain students and student athletes and your community together in order to move it to another level. On the other hand, if it's already bad, like if you already know the sanctions are there, you already know that we owe this, we already know that. All right, cool. Those are definites. You know what else is definite? We are failing school.
Yes.
And we also need, these are definites as well.
Yes.
So, athletics. I would like for my student athletes to be able to pass, receive an education, and if they choose to, continue their education at a higher learning facility. But
the principal informed us that the graduation rate at that school was a little bit over 64%, which means that a third of each graduating class
it's not graduating.
And we're talking about football.
And if there's
and I know I'm coming across as a smart ass right now.
It's okay.
I'm really not trying to. It's just troubling to me.
It is.
That we waste opportunities
to get things done.
You're in front of the administration of the school.
Yeah. You rarely get that.
At their invitation.
Yes. They asked you to be
And
there.
we're talking about
football. How do you keep your cool in there?
Well, I get up and walk out, and then I come and sit and talk to you a day later, and I tell you, all they were doing was talking about football.
God.
That's what I did.
Absolutely. And look, understandably so, maybe they're not on that level yet. They should be.
And you see, when you say that, then I come off like I'm
pompous.
I think I'm so yeah. And I really don't. I don't feel that way.
You're not that.
And I love football. I love my Dallas Cowboys.
You a Dallas Cowboy fan?
I can't stand Jerry Jones.
Oh my God!
Just look around the room you're in. I got Cowboy banners all over the place. I can't stand Jerry Jones. Dak Prescott has hugely disappointed me.
Oh my God. He was just reading. Don't do that.
But I'm a Cowboy fan. My father took me to Southern University football games from the age of 6 until he couldn't go anymore, and I was 48 years old, still going, and I took my son to those games. I love football.
Hey, my dad was the quarterback.
Is that right?
Yes.
But you can't tell me that it's more important to talk about kids playing ball than it is talking about kids getting diplomas.
I know. And maybe since maybe since it was on the agenda, like, we're gonna talk about it, made it okay. Maybe we're gonna talk about education soon as we finish this football discussion. As soon as we figure out we're gonna pay these fees, we're gonna get right on this diploma stuff.
Yeah.
And economics and everything else, man, and credits. We're going to figure this thing out. But right now, we got to figure out how we're going to compete for a championship.
Yes.
it's like it's off a TV show.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
And
so I'm asking you about how young people think, and I'm venting to you about how not so young people are thinking, and people who are in positions of responsibility and leadership. And I find that troubling.
It is troubling. I think young people are, and this is me just even having conversations with my nephew who just graduated from, I think, SET school you're talking about. And I have another nephew, literally 2 years older than the one that just graduated, but he graduated out of Trinity in Dallas. And the conversation is totally different. Like you can, and it's not like they didn't grow up like differently. Like you know, my older nephew was actually in East Baton Rouge Parish schools until he was about 10, and then he moved. But you can tell like almost what they're surrounded by just by conversation. You know, like, and that's not to put any, you know, put down our schools here and what we surround ourselves with. Not, it's just that maybe we just don't have it to surround ourselves with. And if we can, like, I know it's hard for the administration, like for your, like you looking at the administration, like this is what we can surround our kids with, and they up here talking about football. The kids don't really, I don't think they care about that. Yeah, the student athletes do. I'm serious, like they do. Student athletes do. They do care about that. The only reason they care about that is because it gets them an opportunity to go and play for a university. It's the only reason they care. They don't care. Most student athletes do not care about a state championship because they are just waking up to find out that these people do not care about you. So treat them like they treat you. You want to treat me like a commodity? I'm going to treat you like a commodity. I'm hurt. Are you? I say I am. Like, so they understand that I got to use you to get what I want as well, just like you're using me. These kids are figuring that out early.
So that kind of transactional relationship where everybody's using everybody else, it's the definition of capitalism.
Yeah.
And, of course, America is a capitalist nation. Do you find it as troubling as I do that capitalism not only drives the nation, drives business, but to a large extent drives the church?
Yes. Matter of fact, I can tell you that's why a lot of people move from it. Main reason. Like, they really cannot wrap their brains around I should say, mega churches. And your mega church is in a community that needs help. And you're not helping. Like, it's turned a lot of people around, like, really. And for people that's not strong in faith, they will move. They will leave. They will be deterred. To not know, I mean, they don't know that, like, that's just a messenger. He's just giving you the word. You don't follow that man. You follow that, you know, the man.
Right.
But it's hard to tell people that who's just sitting there watching as a few people get rich while the rest actually suffer. Not even a few people get rich, and then there's a section of people that are moderately okay. It's these few people get rich, and then everybody else is suffering.
Yeah.
And that's tough for a lot of people to get through, especially in church, because they see it in the world. They shouldn't see it here.
Yeah.
So
I'm not naive. I know that churches can't operate without money. This is all I've done.
Absolutely.
My entire life. You need money in order. There's no ministry without money. But it's one thing to use money as a commodity to provide ministry. It's another thing for money to be gathered and hoarded for the personal wealth of a select few.
A few. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I believe a church should do. I mean, there's mega churches out there that are doing what they're supposed to do. You're creating jobs. You're creating opportunities.
Right.
And they are doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And probably need more money to do more.
Right.
Because I run a budget for my house.
Yes, sir.
And whew.
Yes, sir.
And that's just my little, 1,600 square feet.
Yeah.
Like I don't have pews, you know what I'm saying, or musical instruments everywhere, and like I don't, and I know all that costs. I know all of that costs money.
Yeah.
Anybody that thinks that everything is donated in the church is crazy. Right. You out of your mind. Right. I don't know what life you're living in. I don't know what country you in.
What planet you come from.
Yeah. Believe me, there's not manufacturers that manufacture pianos and saying, you know what, we just gonna donate.
Right.
Start making
yes.
501c and make pianos.
Yes.
No, they not doing it.
Yeah.
They do it for profit.
Yeah.
And if they doing it for profit, which means we had to purchase it, so what did we purchase it with?
Yes.
It's simple. All right? So that's understandable. But I think to this, like you said, the generation, most, African Americans that's around this age where they get information and they just get deterred from, the capitalism of some churches, is they looking at it on the outside. Mm-hmm. Like just, they see it as something that they don't want to become or be affiliated with. So they deter from it. That's what I see. And it's because of what they see in the world. Mm-hmm. So if they see it in the world, and the one place I'm not supposed to see it is in church. Right. It affects them. Right. Especially if they see it every Sunday. Yeah. Every Sunday. It'll start itching at you a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
If I were to take my wife to your show, your comedy show, what would I be in store for?
Oh, man. Let's see. Let's talk about tonight. I have a show tonight, so I'll just bring you through my set list.
Okay.
My set list will be about, first of all, the ride up there and talking about why our infrastructure here in Baton Rouge is not what it's supposed to be. Apparently, like why we have traffic at 1:30 on a Friday with no major event and school's not in. Yeah. Explain to me with no wrecks. Ain't nobody wrecked. Yeah. We just slowing down. Yeah. That's the first thing. Second thing will be my marriage. Just basically about marriage. I could be generalizing. Basically, I can tell anybody in the room that 60% of the room is married. Mm-hmm. Which I also give jokes to singles because you can also be like, oh, don't do this, or do this, or wait till your time. I have jokes about that. After the marriage, I'm talking about actual things that you deal with within a marriage, which single people deal with. Like I talk about banking. Just the basics of banking or the basic terminologies of banking. Like I take certain terms that banks tell you and just tell you that like the vocabulary is a little bit off than what we were taught. Like a current balance and an available balance. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Doesn't make sense to me either.
It don't, because I know the definition of current and available. Yeah. And they are very similar.
Yes, they are.
But yet in a bank, no, it don't. That must be two different things in the banking. I don't know if they must not read Webster's. It must be something else. They dictionary is different. Yes. And I riff about that. I riff about I even riff about drugs, like drug laws, a little bit, like saying that our laws need to make sense with common sense. Mm-hmm. As in, like I do a joke about the law of possession and intent to distribute. I don't like that intent to distribute thing because the joke is like if you catch me with something and it's mine. You can't make me an entrepreneur because you think I'm one. Like you made me a business owner, straight off of because of what I had. Right. You must be distributing this because of all.
It's too much for you to use on your own.
My joke is like, how could you say that's what Sam's and Costco is? That's exactly the same thing. So if you catch me with 1,000 oranges, am I selling these things? Do I just like oranges and I just want to have a lot of them because I don't want to go back to the store? And I'm not saying I'm not saying that the use of the drug is good. I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't give that man that. Did he have it? Yes. Yeah. Is he selling it? You don't know that? Does he have receipts? Do you see business cards anywhere? You can, and I like that law doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I also talk about still on banking. I don't like when hotels when you give them your card and they put that little hold on it.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the hold is, because I paid for the room.
Yeah.
The room paid for.
Yeah.
It's a incidental hold, like for incidentals. I was like, I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for incidentals. You can take that out of my room. He's like, no, just anything happen. I was like, nothing's gonna happen. Like, I don't understand. That don't make sense to me. I stayed at that hotel extra 6 days. They're like, why you here? I said, that's how much you took off my card. You took a week and a half off my card. We staying here eating breakfast every day. Me and my kids, we're going to drive up, we're going to eat breakfast, and y'all got dinner at 6, right? 6. So I talk about all of that. Like it's regular stuff that affects you. You see, you know it because you've been through it.
Yes,
you just didn't know it was that funny.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
You're a very funny man.
That's stress. That's stressful.
You're a very funny man. Oh, they don't care how stressful it is.
They don't.
Could not care
Oh,
less.
my God. They'll call you on the little headset and just...
And the amazing thing is how they go from being friendly to being a collector in a flash.
In a flash. They'll be your friend and call you by your first name.
As soon as they find out that your check ain't gonna clear, a change takes place.
Is in their voice. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You're not friendly no more, Alfred. What happened? Now that we know the past due balance won't be paid today. I'm like, oh, God, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so it's almost like I can see into your life and pick moments out of it, and I put it in an hour on stage. And you leave there knowing that you are not alone. You feel the same way. Yeah.
You said earlier that if you had to choose between radio and comedy, you would choose comedy hands down.
Hands down.
Does it trouble you that in order to move to the next level in comedy, you have to leave Baton Rouge to do it? Or do you think that you have to leave Baton Rouge to do that? Maybe I'm making an assumption.
I will insert something that's in the middle of that. If you leave Baton Rouge to do it, you may have a better chance of doing it a little bit quicker.
Okay.
I don't think you have to. I think it will happen here. I do believe that. And it's happening. Like, I can honestly say 2 of my best friends who I've actually mentored and brought in the game, one named A.O., comedian A.O., and comedian Carissa Cropper, they were selected for the Kevin Hart Heart of the City showcase in New Orleans. Like, we went to New Orleans showcase and they were chosen. And they're from here.
Good.
They didn't have to move. And I believe it's coming. And I believe it's going to shine a light on what talent. And believe me, we got a plethora of talent here. And Baton Rouge, like a lot. We got a lot of talent that left. That is from here. And won't say they're from here. Like, come on, man. Yeah, you are. Saw you at South Boulevard, man. I know. So, I don't believe you have to move, but if you just want to fast track that, yeah. But to throw some faith in that, it'll be in his time. So, regardless.
Do you have the acting bug?
Yes. Got that too.
Okay. I noticed that a lot of rappers have become actors and very well-known actors, very good actors.
Because they know they can't rap forever. They see these actors. Look at Morgan Freeman. He's 100.
Yeah.
He's still acting, man. Yeah.
And, comedians have made that jump also. I didn't know whether that was something that you aspired to.
It's still in the, I should say, it's still in the realm of comedy. Like, you still want to play a character. You still want to do that. So, I mean, yeah, I'm there. I still do it. Like, you only as big as you make the role. So, I mean, that you got to understand, Denzel Washington still does plays.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So why you can't do one?
In fact, he went out of his way to do a play.
Yeah, like I still say that. I was like, so these little local plays and everything that's coming to you, like, ain't no audition. Why?
Yeah.
Why? You think you're too good? I don't think you're gonna make it. Like, how about that? Like, you're like, I just think like, man, you take on them roles. That bug is already in you. You're a comedian. You already performing. It's another avenue. I believe.
Let me ask you one other question, and,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna wrap this up. And I really appreciate your time.
Oh,
I'm
no
enjoying the
problem.
conversation. We talked earlier about a lot of comedy coming out of tragic situations. Not so long ago, I guess it's been about a year now, Robin Williams took his life, who most people consider to be a comedic genius. I don't know how you feel about him, but
He is a genius.
a lot of people feel like he was a comedic genius. It seems that a lot of artists, not just comedians, actors, musicians, vocal performers, whatever you want to call them, they're looking for a way to cope with their pain, and when they finally decided, I can't find it, they opt out. And it's not like they're the only people who commit suicide,
Right? No,
but you hear about it more
Yeah.
when it
It's
happens.
publicized with them.
Yeah, to one of them. When you're with your colleagues, does this conversation ever come up?
No. And it should. I will say that locally, I don't know how it is on the road, rarely, because you don't have that much time with people. But locally, we actually we got a close knit. We're friends. Like if we see one down, we be like, "Hey, you okay? Is everything good?" Like we will do that, and that's a good thing. Even if they lie, like just to ask is still better than just not doing anything.
Right.
Yeah. Like I mean, but we should do more of it. I believe. I don't think it's talked about enough. I don't think it's discussed enough. I mean, you think about it, it's a mental health issue.
I'm glad you said that, because that was going to lead me to my next question about this. I was with someone yesterday, older person, older than I am, so much older than you are, who made the statement that black people don't believe in mental health issues. They don't believe in counseling. They don't believe in therapy. And I know that that's been the cliche for a long time. Do you still think that that's the case, that there's not enough emphasis placed on mental health care? You know, we all want to make sure that we can go to the doctor when we're physically ill.
Right.
Do we put enough emphasis on mental health, emotional health, psychological health?
No, we need, and do we put enough emphasis on it? No. Could we put them? Yes, most definitely.
Do you think that the church is the enemy of mental health? Because I've heard some people say, people always talk about, if you just have faith, you don't need to go to the doctor, you don't need to go.
But then faith without works is there. It's so many different, like, I don't want to say it's the enemy of. No. It's, I think they are contingent on one another. Like, you need to have that. Like, you can have faith, but also, like, God could be telling you, go to the doctor. Like, that's, like that old story where the woman stranded on top of a house with a flood.
Yeah.
And 3 people with boats came on, then she died, and he was like, God, why didn't you save me? I sent 3 people with boats.
Yeah.
3 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, like, I don't believe the church is the enemy of mental health.
Good.
I believe that mental health makes them believe that that's all they need. Seriously. They already have the issue, and it's already affecting them. They don't think they need it. I mean, if you're in I should say a household or community that doesn't do that, why would you go? Parents was fine. You don't know that they fine. But they going through the same problems. Yeah. Like, I mean, me and my wife, we go to counseling every other month. We call it maintenance. That's what it is.
That's good.
Yeah, it's maintenance. I love Barbara Green. Like, and then I go by myself because I need that maintenance. You need somebody to talk to and about your issues. Some issues, everybody ain't, like, you're not perfect. Like, something's going on, and it's something you're not telling either your best friend or your spouse or your brother or something. So you need to talk to someone, get that worked out. You don't want to hold all that in.
Yeah.
And if you don't know if you don't know that people do this, you would think that they just supermen and superwomen, and they just, like, that's why me and my wife, we tell everyone, no, we talk all the time to somebody else. Like, literally, like, if we didn't, it would be World War III. Like, you can't have all that internal stuff going on and still be okay on the outside. Eventually, it's going to come on the outside, and that's what we've been seeing on TV, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, no, mental health, and I think mental health and faith should work
together.
Should be. Hopefully, we get into a point, I should say, in our communities where that's one and the same, where it's here. Like, it's actually given here.
I have enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sorry that it's taken this long for me to get to meet you.
Hey, look, man, God's timing is impeccable.
Yeah. I'm going to blame Terrence, because Terrence is around here all the time, and it took us 27 shows before he brought you up.
Hey, man, 27.
27 shows before he brought you up.
At least it has the number of completion in the number.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying, but nah, man, I'm glad.
But thank you so much.
This won't be the last either.
I look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for viewing. We'll be back next time.
Yep.